Greetings, Judah. DFG here, getting into flight. Hey guys, I just want to take a couple of minutes and share a news article with you guys that I uh, fell upon the other day, just doing my normal research. Just trying to stay abreast of the latest information out there. And this article was about Southern California and what is going to happen or what is already happening in Southern California. And as you know, Southern California is the most populous state in the union. And be honest with you, what happens in California typically dictates what's going to happen around the rest of the country as well. But that being said, I want to share that article with you guys, and then I want to give you some some things to as a warning to take heed of, to show you just how desperate things could become, so that again you are taking the necessary precautions to ensure that you're going to have provisions stored away for you and your loved ones, when all chaos, occurs. And I told you before, it's coming. We talked before. Why over the last 2 or 3 years, and some of my Gideon Fight brothers will tell you this, we couldn't go into a gun store and it wasn't crowded with people. Mostly Caucasian white women or Caucasian females. They were buying up guns. They were buying up ammunition. I mean, I even went to get my concealed license, and you have to go to classes to get your qualifications to be a concealed weapons carrier. And so I had to take a half-day class. I'm thinking when I get to this class, a little small suburban town, in New England, that'd probably be me and 5 other people. Guys. When I went into that class, it was standing room only in that class. And this was a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was standing room only. And this was a couple of years ago, or about a year and a half ago for that. And I bring that forward to you guys because they are telling you, there are people, your neighbors, maybe not your neighbors. There are people in all these small cities and towns all over the United States who are 100% prepared for the mayhem that is to come because of the food shortages. And what they're doing is simply saying they're going to arm up so that when you come in, some of you who have not prepared, and Judah, you're known for that shit, that are not prepared, when you come calling yourself going to ravage and show your moxie and your strength and your aggressiveness and your bark, that has no bite most of the time unless you biting another Judite, you're going to find out real quick they're going to be lighting up your asses in terms when you walk up on their property. And they are not playing, they are 100% for real. And you better have yourself prepared too, because when Judah can't go out there and some of these others can't go out there, these heathens included, they're going to come knocking on some of your doors. And you had better be ready to repel them or to resist them. Because if you're not, your police department that they talking about defunding, your military that you think going to come and save you, they're not going to be there. As a matter of fact, Yah said he's going to laugh at your calamity when that day arises. He said, because you would not seek me in the day when I could be found, when I open up to you through some of these messengers, including myself. He says, when you come in, when the shit hits the fan and you come looking for me, I'm just going to laugh at you. In other words, he says, there will be no, deliverance of you. You're gonna suffer the greatest consequence. And I'm going to read to you through our history what has happened to our ancestors when they rejected Yah and did not hearken to the men of Yah, and this is what they ended up having to deal with. But first, let me go to this article, guys, and this won't be long. This article is from Deadline. That's the name of the the news article by a guy by the name of Bruce Harding, Haring. Unemployment stay-at-home orders start tonight with no stimulus in sight. So in other words, the government's not going to be bailing you guys out. Some of you guys sitting back waiting for, and the only reason why you're interested in politics is you're waiting for somebody to sign a CARES Act. That ain't happening. And I'm going to prove it to you. Watch this. Say, heading into the Thanksgiving weekend, things have never looked gloomier for Southern California. A state and local stay-at-home order goes into effect late tonight, but exempts film and TV production workers. I wonder why that is, so they can keep you entertained, and keep you distracted while, the bottom is collapsing under you. But Still, many of those people are still without employment, dating from the spring shutdowns and already struggling ancillary businesses that support them and the ancillary business that support them are about to be damaged even more by another round of restrictions, shutdowns. The bad news is enhanced by unemployment benefits and other programs established with the CARES Act in March are going to expire by the end of the year. A study released this week says 12 million people will lose their federal and state unemployment. 12 million on top of the 20 million that's already not getting it, that's already unemployed. There have been discussions since before the election day on a new stimulus bill. And while at times it appeared partisan gaps were being narrowed, it appears unlikely that anything will materialize without a major shift in positions. The latest conclave was held Thursday, but reporters indicate it was more about funding to avert a federal government shutdown on December 11th. In a poll released earlier this week by Too Good Yogurt, conducted by market research company, one poll claims 4 in 10 Americans report that they experienced food insecurity for the first time during the pandemic. Now, this was just 2 weeks ago, just recently. About half of the 2,000 people polled claim they have struggled to afford food. And with 37% skipping meals to provide for their children, area food banks report resources never truly flush, that their resources were never truly flush and are being strained as more layoffs prompt by the next shutdown looms. Now, there's also reports, if you've been following even the world news, they got food lines at food banks that go for miles. They even had to close off an interstate intersection because the food bank lines were so long. That is telling you a clear indicator. And that's right now. What's going to happen when another 12 million hits? And then what's going to happen when that rent subsidy is taken away at the end of this year? What's going to happen, you follow me? Again, you saw with the unemployment and some of those other provisions that were a bit. Then what's going to happen to these people who did not prepare? They're going to be starving. And they're going to be out in the streets trying to ravish those people who did prepare, especially in the inner cities. And what they're going to find, as the old Tupac song goes, they're going to find death around the corner. But again, these things could have been avoided by most of us, Judah, because many of us won. When they gave many of you guys the stimulus, it might not be you, but people you know. But when you got that stimulus money, we were telling you over and over, buy food, buy water, buy provisions, necessary provisions, survival things that you would need to get through these tough days that were coming. And we warned you of this years ago. If you've been following this channel, you know I was talking about this years ago when there was no true indicator that this would happen. And yet, here we are. And there are many of you are not prepared, and you took that stimulus money and you wasted it. Clothes, weaves, nail jobs, hanging out, junk, things that you really that could not sustain you over a period of time. And now you're going to be screwed. Because as these lockdowns start to increase, a lot of you guys are going to lose your jobs. Again, with no sight in mind, or no timeline in mind when you're going to get reemployed, and there will be no money to bail you out. So you're going to be in the food line. Oh, and by the way, to be able to eat in the food lines, you're going to take the vaccine. That's going to be the number one qualification. The Red Cross has already announced that for their employees. They already told their employees, if you're going to continue to work for the Red Cross, you are going to get vaccine. And when it's warp speed, military enforcement come, many of you guys, you're just going to lay down and take it. And heaven knows what's going to happen. But you're still going to be in these concentration camps because many of you are going to be homeless. You're going to be in there because you don't have food. So you're going to pretty much become, re-enslaved all over again. This time, government slaves. And you think these detention horror stories you heard about these Mexicans and stuff down on the borders, that's going to be nothing like what's going to happen. Remember the convention center during Hurricane Katrina when it was rape, mayhem, death, diseases, filth, feces, piss, toilets backing up, all those kind of things going on in the convention center and the Superdome? That's what some of you guys are going to be dealing with. And you should have been prepared. Y'all warned us. Excuse me. Y'all warned us. You were warned. Now, there's still some time left, but if you hadn't started, I don't know. What else can I say? But let me give you some book to go with what I just said. I'm going to give you 4 precepts. This is the book of Baruch. First Baruch, B-A-R-U-K. And that's why you heard me say many times before that you need to be using the cipher Bible. You know, these Bibles that's got the Apocryphal book so you can get all of the information. So here it is, First Baruch chapter 2. Say, therefore Yahuwah has made good his word, which he pronounced against us. And the word is against us and against the judges that judge Israel. In other words, the leaders, against our kings and our princes, against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon us great plagues for our rebellion. Great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven. And it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the Torah of Moses, that a man should eat his own son and the flesh of his own daughter. Cannibalism. That's one time. Because some of you say, oh, I would never do such a thing. Okay, let me give you another precept here. This is Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 10. Therefore the father should eat the sons in the midst of you, and the sons shall eat their fathers. And I will execute judgment in you, and the whole remnant of you will I scatter into all the winds. That's 2. Cannibalism. Again, because of what? Starvation. Let me give you another precept. Let's go here again. How about here? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 53. And you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and your daughters, which Elohim has given you. And in the siege and in the straitness wherein your enemies shall distress you. Your enemies will distress you. No stimulus, no jobs, no housing, concentration camp, FEMA traps, vaccines. Your enemies will distress you. Let me give you one more. That's 3. 3 times talking about cannibalism. Starvation to the point where you're eating your own family members. 3 times. Let's see. Leviticus chapter 26. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 29. Let me start at verse 28. Then I will walk contrary unto you in my fury, and even I will chastise you 7 times for your sins. Some of you might say, what sins you talking about? Aren't we saved by grace? That's a lie from the pits of hell. You should have ran away from that doctrine the first time you heard them devils like Joseph Prince, T.D. Jakes, Bill Winston, Creflo Dollar, Rod Parsley, what's his name, the other devil over there, Kenneth Copeland. As soon as you heard them preaching that lying prosperity doctrine, you should have got out of there. He said, then I will walk contrary to you also in fury. Even I will chastise you 7 times for your sins. And you shall eat the flesh of your sons, and the flesh of your daughters shall you eat. That is 4 precepts. So I know many of you guys say, oh, I would never do that, GFG. And DFG, you push and scare attack. I'm just giving you what the word of Yah says. And this book says that Yah word be true and every man be a liar. And do I think it will get that bad for cannibalism to start? Not immediately. But as they say, the dark winter is coming. And you'll be shocked what people will do when they get hungry enough and they get afraid enough and desperate enough. So again, will you be prepared? Will you take heed? Will you go out? First of all, will you turn back and walk away from this heathen holidays, religion? All this money, man, you're going to waste on Thanksgiving. Take all that money, you need to go buy you some basic things, some canned goods, water, basic supplies and necessities, and the hell with that hellified day where they slaughtered our people. That's what you should do, but that's not what you're going to do. Because you're rebellious, and Yah said he's going to chastise you for it. Just like he chastised our ancestors for their rebellion by going after strange gods, strange, what do you call that? Strange customs, strange holidays, strange actions, committing whoredom with them. And then this was the judgment. He will chastise you with them at the expense of your children. And, as you say, the fathers of some of your children, which means mothers too. All right? That's all I got for you, Judah. Be you ready for such a time you think not. Yah coming.